Never spend more than 3/4 out of every dollar that you earn. If you follow just this one step, you are going to live a very different financial life in 10 years, but it's difficult because it's going to require you to make some sacrifices, because when most people make $1,000, they think that they can spend $1,000, but if you do that, you are never, ever, ever going to become wealthy. Remember, how do you become wealthy? The way you become wealthy is by taking money that you earn, not spending it all, taking the money that you don't spend, and using this money to buy investments. Focusing on the trends, not the emotions, but investments that are there to give you the cash flow. Cash is king, but cash flow is the queen. So now let's talk about this. If you really want to become wealthy, that means you cannot spend more than 3/4 of every dollar that you earn. And one of the things that I like to talk about is a 75-15-10 plan, which says for every dollar that you earn, 75 cents is the maximum that you can spend, 15 cents is the minimum that you're investing, and 10 cents is the minimum that you're saving. What that means now is every time you make $1, you got to have it flow through this funnel. And if you do this, you're always going to be paying yourself first. And by paying yourself first, I don't mean you're going out and paying your BMW, paying for the Gucci because you're paying somebody else when you buy those things. I mean paying yourself, because this is the money you're going to use to invest into more assets, into more investments that are going to pay you with more cash flow. The reason why this is difficult is because now when you make that money, you can only spend 3/4 of it, which means you might have to live a little bit smaller, which means you might not be able to drive the BMW right now, which means you might not be able to have the nice big apartment right now, which means you might have to downsize on some things. But if you stick with this, what's going to happen is this money is going to start making you some more money. Now, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen this year. It's probably not going to happen next year either. But if you stick with this, you're going to start to see more and more income coming from these investments over the years, and especially over the next decade. That's why I call it a decade of sacrifice, because you got to spend less and earn more, so you're working to invest like crazy over the next decade. And that's hard. Most people don't like to talk about it in a decade. That's why everybody's selling you 6 steps to 6 figures in 6 months, because everybody likes the idea of getting rich quick. But the reality is getting rich quick really just makes somebody else rich. So now when it comes to your savings, you got to understand you don't want to just save your money forever. You want to save your money strategically, save your money for an emergency, save your money for a big purchase, save your money for an investment. But once you hit your savings goal, whether it's 3 months or a year's worth of savings, take this money and put it here. That way it becomes a 75-25 plan. That way for every dollar that you earn, 25 cents is going to make yourself rich, 75 cents is making somebody else rich. If you can follow this system of living off of 3/4 of every dollar that you earn, you're going to become wealthy. Period. Just look at the numbers. Go run any investment calculator online and you'll see that if you stick with this for long enough, you're going to be able to have enough wealth in your retirement portfolio to live your life free financially. Wealth law number 8 is that time trumps all. If you can invest $500 a month into these investments, into these assets, and you can get a 10% return on your money, which has been the historical stock market average, and you do this for 25 years, that means your $500 a month is going to grow to $750,000, which is a lot of money. But let's talk about time here. Because if you can add just 5 more years into this investment, where now you're doing $500 a month, not for 25 years, but you do it for 30 years, just 5 more years. Well, now you are going to have, you want to guess? $1.25 million in your investment account. You're going to have more than $500,000 more in your account if you just keep investing your money for an additional 5 years. And the reason why is because time is one of the most valuable tools when it comes to building your wealth. We all know Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people, one of the wealthiest and most successful investors in the world. Well, 99% of his wealth came after his 50th birthday. And he's been investing his money since he was 16. What that means is that time is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to building your wealth, because, well, every year you invest more money. And the more money you invest, the more money can grow, the more money that you can earn off of your money. And if you can keep compounding your money, well, that's going to allow you to keep growing your wealth. And now you might be saying, well, Jaspreet, eventually I want to use my money. Sure, no one's saying that you can't start living a nicer lifestyle as you make more money. But remember, if you just start spending every dollar that you earn, well, then you're not going to be able to grow your wealth. But if you spend a piece of every dollar that you earn, well, now you can keep growing your wealth while also living a bigger lifestyle. This allows you to build your wealth faster than you make other people's wealth. Wealth law number 9 is do not ask an insurance salesperson how much insurance that you need. And going along with that, do not ask a banker how much loan you need. And along with that, do not ask a realtor how much home you can afford. These people, while they might be nice, they might have the best intentions, they also have different intentions because these salespeople are paid on commission and their goal is to sell you more. If you ask an insurance salesperson how much insurance you need, their answer will be more. If you ask a banker how much loan you need, the answer will be more. If you ask a realtor how much home you need, their answer will be more. Now again, I'm not saying these are bad people, but you got to understand the game. Everybody has their own goals, everybody has their own intentions, and you gotta have yours. And that means your intention and your goal should be to protect your finances. And that means you gotta have the best financial education to make the decision as to what's right for you. The whole world is in the business of trying to sell you things. There's no entity, no company in the world that would exist if they were not in the business of trying to sell something. And most people hate this idea because they have no idea how to stop saying no. They feel like if somebody says, hey, buy my stuff, that they open up their wallet magically and their money just pulls and flies out of their wallet going into somebody else's bank account. That's not how it works. You also have a decision to say, I don't want that much insurance. I don't want that big of a home. I don't need that loan. And when you have that, it is so freeing because now you get to decide how you want to use your money, but that requires you to have the financial education, which you're going to have to go out and earn and invest in to decide what's worth you spending your money on and what's not. And you got to remember, people are in the business of selling you things. Again, nothing wrong with that. You just got to know what's worth you spending money on and not. And in case you're wondering, of course, I got my own intentions as well. I want you to hit that thumbs up button. I want you to hit the subscribe button. And I want you to join Market Briefs. And wealth law number 10 is that wealth does not make you a good person. A lot of people have this misconstrued reality when it comes to money, and I get it, because if you don't have a lot of money, you think that money is going to solve all of your life's problems, that if you have more money, it's going to make you a more desirable person, and if you have more money, it's going to make you a happier person. You're going to feel better. You're going to not have that depression or anxiety anymore. But the reality is, more money will fix the financial parts of your lives. More money will not fix the mental health part of your lives. More money will not fix the physical health part of your lives. And more money is not going to fix the spiritual part of your lives. These are 4 different aspects of your lives. You got to be physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit, and financially fit if you want to live a happy and fulfilled life. Now, more money can give you better resources when it comes to being physically fit. More money can give you better resources when it comes to being mentally fit. More money can give you better resources and access when it comes to being spiritually fit. But more money by itself is not going to fix these things. And this is where you got to understand that these are 4 different aspects of your lives, and money is also important because a lot of people will say, you don't need to worry about money, just be healthy, just be happy. Well, the reality is if you don't have money, the lack of money can also destroy your physical health, it can destroy your mental health, and it can destroy your spiritual health, which is why you have to have all 4 of these things, but you don't want to get obsessed with this idea of just attracting money that you ignore your physical health, that you ignore your mental health, and you ignore your spiritual health, because these things are important. That means take care of your physical health, exercise, eat healthy, stop eating so many donuts and ho-hos, and hit the gym. Take care of your mental health. If you're surrounded by people that are just toxic, that are negative, that are hating everything, that are just don't support the idea of becoming successful, you know what type of people I'm talking about. Stop talking to them. And yes, it's hard in the beginning, but you don't want to be surrounded with all that negativity. When it comes to your spiritual health, you got to figure out now, what is your purpose for being on this earth? Everybody has one. You don't got to figure it out today. You don't got to figure it out tomorrow. And I'm not one of those people that are saying, find your purpose, because it's not like that. Your purpose might change every 6 months, but you got to understand what gets you excited. What gets you motivated? What makes you want to get out of bed? Because if you have the money, you can work to build the wealth. You got $20 million in your bank account. Well, now, what's your reason for getting out of bed tomorrow? You got all the money. What's your reason for now wanting to conquer and wanting to succeed and wanting to do something that you love? And you got to start thinking about these things, because more money is not just going to fix these other problems. Because if you think money is going to fix the other parts of your life, what you realize is that more money is just going to make you more miserable. And so I want you to understand now, wealth is great. And it's very great because it solves the financial problems in your lives, but it's not going to be able to solve every problem in your life. And I want you to live a holistic and happy life, not just a rich life. Because you can have all the money in the world, but what's the point if you're not happy with it? If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.